And there's case law that you could deny something based on the impact of the community aesthetically. So that's something that we need to look at. And I'll talk for the village board. I think we have two dynamite great boards, the planning board and the zoning board. I witnessed both of them. Just follow what has to be followed, okay? Don't try to bring something in. Let's not deceive anyone. Okay, this is what we want. We're okay, but don't deceive us. You know, and I think that was pretty evident last night. One building was supposed to be two buildings. Okay, stop. Go back. You know, take a step back. And it just could have been an oversight. I'll look at it as it was an oversight. So where we...
Teresa, I'm going to share my screen, okay? I'm going to attempt it.
You know, we have to have,
Okay.
like this with, on page 2 of 92, adult use, we have to have zones like this somewhere in the master plan, okay? But we have a lot of tightening up on the definition itself. Now we have Airbnb, March 23rd is our next village board meeting. We have public law, local law, that's going to be public hearing about the rental registry for long and short-term rentals. Okay. Now we also have open burning permit that night too, right?
I'm sorry to interrupt. So then we're starting back on definitions?
Well, it's really just to get everyone caught up.
Oh,
Can you guys hear us?
You can talk a little louder, but it's, you can make it out.
You want me to talk louder?
Should I come sit next to you with it? I don't know. Come do it. You're going to do all the talking?
Do you have a microphone?
I didn't think I needed one.
Joe, you know sign language?
Yeah, but you wouldn't understand my sign language.
Can you guys see my screen?
Or you might.
I got a sign. I got the sign.
Just gonna say.
Yeah, I got the sign. Thank you.
Yeah, we see your screen, it's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
So as we're scrolling down, these are all definitions that we really have to go over, fine-tooth comb, and tighten them up a little bit. Maybe even remove some of the definitions. Maybe add some more definitions. Let's all agree that we're rock bottom right now. You know, how do we want the village of Washingtonville to progress? Okay, everyone in this room is a stakeholder. Everyone on Zoom is a stakeholder within the village of Washingtonville. How do we want to proceed? Okay. We have home occupation, home professional offices. Now, I believe in some parts of the code, there's a list of maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 businesses that could work in a R100 zone. An architect, an engineer, an attorney.
Where is all this information?
It's in the zoning.
It's in the code.
On the
Eco
website?
360?
Yes.
Yeah, you can link to it.
Home tutoring, as long as you don't have more than 2 kids. I think 3 kids it becomes a school, 2 kids it's fine.
Same with daycare.
I have a school in my house.
You have a school in
Same with daycare. You can have a certain amount of children that you're watching.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
It depends, yeah.
Now, I don't know, is daycare even in here?
Yeah, I thought I saw daycare.
Oh, no, I lost my glasses.
No, I can't really.
Yeah, I don't,
Maybe not, maybe I.
Now, the ones that I highlighted, like home occupation, are the ones we were going to go back to. Right. So they're not done.
oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
why they highlighted.
Yeah.
I just want to use this. So the ones that were not highlighted, we're fine
Yeah,
with,
we went through.
Although
I mean,
there-
and again, if
there's
those-
some
yeah, those are
editor's
old.
notes here,
Those are old notes.
okay.
Actually, no, May 9th. I mean, mine, you'll see my name, so if there's something before that, it was something done at another point.
That's 2019.
What page are you on now, Val?
That was
We're on
May
5, I
9th.
think? 7.
Five, okay.
7.
7, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm on 13.
I thought we were gonna go to home occupancy. You started over?
I know, all right, so I'll go up to,
I mean, why not fix what we didn't do?
that's fine,
Okay,
home occupation.
yeah.
And where are the definitions?
This
Should be
case
in the
is
beginning.
page 7,
It's chapter 175, section 1.
I can't believe I left my
175-E3.
glasses.
You have to go to the zoning section, because there's a couple.
You know, so you have the home occupation, which is listed here. How different is that than home business? Is there a difference? I think in, what we also need to do, and I'll have it at the next meeting, is a pyramid. I don't know if you're familiar with the pyramids, where residential could go anywhere. Commercial can't go into residential without having a variance, okay?
So what do we want it to look like?
The village,
Yeah.
it's up in the air right now, you know, quaint.
But how do we decide what to put anywhere if we don't know what we want it to look like?
Well, we have to come up with what we want to, how we want the village to look.
Is that, I mean, but so,
20 years from now,
right,
you know, not tomorrow, 20 years from now.
right.
But keep in
Which will
mind that
affect
we need
what
to
it
upgrade
looks like today.
comprehensive plans every 5 years.
Right, so my concern is that we uphold and defend or exempt or variance or do all this stuff without a plan of what we really want. And in that is a very fundamental problem for us. And until we fix that, I think we're pissing in the wind.
Right now.
And I agree, like definitions have to be set, of course,
Now,
but,
we
and that's
have-
really, and I'm not,
Yeah.
listen, let me also say before I go any further, I'm on the team
Yeah,
to do this, I'm a stakeholder, I absolutely am interested and have a timeline for what I need to see for me to be
Right.
here. You know what I mean? I'm here, I'm 150% here and wanting to work on this. I'm looking for the path of how it's gonna go, because it has to
Right.
look a certain way for me to decide how my business runs.
Right.
So,
Respect
I just
that,
wanna be very
absolutely.
upfront about it.
No, we respect
And there's no other, you wanna know where I'm gonna be here 5 years from now, 10 years from now. My hope is that nailed it, however many stores I have, which is gonna be more than one, it is home-based here. But if I have to rush this to get to another store someplace else, I need to know that too.
now, one of the maps that we came up with last year, we added a celebratory historic district. Now, what's meant by celebratory is just really keeping the village the way that we want to see progress, but streetscapes. Maybe different color sidewalks, different street furniture, different lighting, trees, signage. And really in the dark red is just something that we drew. It's not locked in, but it's something that and I think it came all the way down to maybe the house across the street from here, on this side of the street, all the way up to what used to be the bridge, the covered bridge, just past Patricia Lane. And then I think it went to Depot Street, correct? And then up to the Presbyterian Church, if I'm not mistaken. On North Street, it went up to Brotherhood Winery.
Right, and that includes this 36 North Street. I'm just looking at it now.
Yes.
It's within that. So can't that house be salvaged because of that?
It's, this is,
It's not
It's not
technically
discussion.
historic.
It's not in effect yet.
Yeah.
It's not in
No,
effect
no,
yet.
no, it's not technically historic.
Right.
It's the board deemed it historic, but it's not
I know.
on the books.
Yes, I understand that.
Everything here will never take effect until we bring it up to the Secretary of State to have it
Right.
stamped in, and then it becomes.
That's what I was asking.
And it's more for aesthetic purposes,
Right.
not.
Yeah, it was
Right,
really
right.
just aesthetics.
Like
Right,
that word
understood.
historic
can be misconstrued.
Understood, but would you
Yeah.
rather see that house that's existing there, or would you rather see a couple of rows of townhouses?
Well, that's,
So-
that's the
but-
point of
But
that.
let's be
That's
very
a good
careful
thing.
about that.
Yeah.
Denny, and just, we really need to broaden our vision on this, because we can leave a building there that's falling apart, and guess what?
Listen, I don't wanna look
But
at it
no,
next
no,
door to
no,
my
no,
house
no,
either.
right, but then people move.
I know.
And then it's a different problem, and it's a bigger
understand.
problem,
I
and it's
agree
one
with
we
you.
can't come back from.
I agree with you.
This here is the Village of
We're
Washingtonville.
on the same page.
Right.
An aerial view of the village. And this here, I believe, is Constitution, right, over here. And this piece of land is really ours, but it butts up against Lasser. Okay,
we sold that
we sold that.
to the town.
Okay, so then we need to force that
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, we own it, it's in Washingtonville, but there's a
Similar to
landlord.
Okay.
Maysfield.
Right,
So
there's a
similar to
landlord.
Maysfield,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it's a lot of area, okay? But there's a lot of areas that, and I'm just trying to remember what we were discussing last year. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, the middle school might not be there anymore, okay? It might be a housing project, it might be an industrial park, it might be whatever, okay? Same thing with the high school. You don't know what's gonna happen.
And I think we
Everything is
could
going
see
to be in
that
the high
there-
school. Taft might
that
not
it
be
could.
there. You know, the village has the, you know, we have 3 schools, Taft, middle, and high school. All right? 20 years from now, it just might be everything in the high school, like it was 50 years earlier, where everything was in the middle school. Taft wasn't around, the high school wasn't around, everything was in the middle school. So it's up to the stakeholders. How do we want the village to look as we progress 20 years from now, 30 years from now? You always plan 20 years down the road.
If I might just add something, I think in planning for our piece, our village, we have to also look at what's going on outside of us. To
Oh,
the
yeah.
north of us,
They're 10 years ahead.
the 600 some odd homes. Below us, the 108 acres that were just bought where the hotel is.
Yep.
We are probably the only village, I mean, Cornwall, you know, you look at all the other villages, there's no village that has 2 state roads crisscrossing through it.
Correct.
So we are not the same in a way that we can do things the way other villages do, unfortunately. And you know, just to get sidetracked, and I said this to you when you and I met, I live in Hallmark. That's where my mind lives, and that's
And
where I
Tell
want to
me,
live.
that would not be, how awesome would that be?
That's where I want to live, and that's what I want
Yeah.
for here, but I don't know, we're dense, we're very dense, and our streets are not, there's no pushback of buildings to make the streets wider, which is a very major issue as far as putting more commercial and traffic and whatever. It has to be really planned carefully. That's just my little point.
Yeah, we don't have a wall around the village.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, the only way that they're gonna get down
Yeah.
to 17
yeah,
from
the
above
yellow,
us,
the yellow line is not a wall here. So
Right.
if you walk,
unfortunately.
and one thing I would add about our village, we're probably unique in the villages throughout the state. We're self-sufficient, okay? even though there's Cornwall and Hudson is a village, they share water with the town shares water with the sewer with the village. They have their own police department, but there's a lot of things that are interconnected.
Right.
Here, we're pretty much self-sufficient. We are surrounded by the town. Okay, so the town, once we get moving with this, and this is according to our attorneys, that we would have to notify the town that this is what we plan on doing. If we were surrounded, if we had 3 other municipalities, we would have to notify all 3 different
Right.
municipalities.
Well, it's
So-
basically the same as zoning board, you have to send out your
Correct,
notifications.
yeah. You know, the zoning board is a very, you know, we just met with somebody a little over an hour ago. The zoning board is a very, very powerful board.
The most. The
It's a-
most.
Yeah. It's probably the most powerful board in the village. In this case, in town, it's the most powerful board. You know, so, but again, I'll just keep on saying, and forever, how do we want the village of Washingtonville to look? 20 years from now? So we're at ground zero right now. Okay. Where do we want to go from here? All right. So you want me, I'll get the other map too. Because we did, I think, 2 maps?
Yes.
Oh, who's there besides you and Joe? Maureen's there, right?
Yes.
The best person on the planet is here.
And
Steve.
Denny,
But then he's there?
Corinne, and Rich.
Corinne and Rich.
Who's on? Who's on?
Who's on?
Okay.
Who's on?
We've got Larissa, Steve, and Selena. I never forget you, Selena, by the way. Don't listen to Joe.
I have something for you, Selena, I've been trying to catch up to you, Selena.
Who is what?
I have to, me, Maureen,
Oh,
I have to catch up with you.
sounds good.
She's confused because Larissa's name is in the, I'm using her account.
This is the map that we started with, okay? This was the map that has been floating around. It's the map that's on the zoning, in our zoning book. So from this map, that's where we created, again, preliminary, theoretically created these maps. Commercial business district. Now, I'm glad to see, you know, how do we determine the commercial business district? Well, let's talk to the commercial people. That would, I'd like to start there, okay? So we have, and I don't believe we eliminated zones at all. We might have shortened them or shrunk them, okay? But there's 12. Like I said, New York City has 15. We're a little bit smaller than New York City, all right? So, and how did they come about? I emphasize, yeah, they came about. Right, but I think we need to look at the whole village. We are a bedroom community. People just come here to sleep, they get up, they go down to the city, and is that going to change over the next 20 years? I think
It's
so.
changing now.
Yeah, I think it's going to change, right. This past year, I think we saw a lot of changes to this. I really should wear my mask, huh? I should.
You're being recorded.
I know, but if my wife is on the recording,
Oh.
I'll get yelled at.
We know who's the boss there.
Oh, I could have told you before I put my mask on who the boss was. You know, so this is, again, where we were. I think these were one of the second, third, maybe fourth week into this whole process. Again, nothing is in stone. Right? Everything is wide open for discussion. Well, we set up a group of, a chunk of meetings, all right? I think everyone has it, okay? We'd like to, and this is a goal, but I think if you reach your goal, you didn't set your goal high enough, okay? The next board meeting that we have is the 23rd of March. To be able to say, okay, we'd like to go to public hearing on this date. And we can keep the public hearing open as long as we need to. But it's something that we need to just keep on working with it conscientiously.
When we,
It's broken?
now that where the red lines are, I'm sorry, just, that's where you're talking about having commercial. Is that
It's
correct?
not so much commercial, it's just historic celebratory.
Or allowing commercial?
Actually, this map would show that.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was more concerned with than
The,
historic.
The black outline would
Would
be
be
commercial.
Commercial. Okay, my only concern with, and that goes all the way to
I
where,
think F and J, somewhere around there.
oh, that, okay, so F and J is there, and then it goes all the way down to,
You mean T and M?
Yes.
oh, I was gonna say.
That's
All right, I'm turned around.
a longer walk than I remember.
Yeah, my only concern is,
I never
and
showed it.
we're having this issue now with, you know, you're in R100, but, you know, can you take out of RA? I think that before that is changed, those zones and the definitions in them have to be tightened up a lot, because my fear is someone coming in and purchasing 2 homes in a row, then coming before the zoning board asking for a variance, subdividing, and here we have a strip mall now. And we're gonna end up like, you know, Route 17 in Monroe. That is one of my biggest
That's a
fears.
good question. And our thought of why we went into the R zone, instead of stopping it here, is if you look at what's currently there, there's quite a few that are out of compliance.
Right,
There's a lot of businesses there that are in the R zone. So what do we do with all those businesses? We're trying to make them legal, is what we were trying to do.
right. Well, there was one point that was brought up at one of our zoning meetings a couple of meetings ago, and it's not so much as bringing people into compliance as not allowing new people, and that's what we're dealing with Nicole, not allowing
Right.
new people in to be out of compliance.
Exactly.
So, you know, when those businesses leave, I would rather see us tighten up our compliance laws and our
Absolutely.
zoning than changing ours to meet what they did. You know, there's that saying, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And that's what I think a lot of people have been doing, and it's not been taken care of, and they've not been cited for it.
Like
And
you said, one Nicole's a perfect example.
Exactly.
and this is my biggest fear, that this is going to now, they buy the next house, and are they going to
Try to stretch it.
subdivide
They're
and
just trying to
stretch it,
keep
and then we'll have
stretching it, stretching
townhouses
it.
there?
Right, now, along those lines, when you mentioned strip malls, I agree with you on that. No one in this room, to my knowledge, unless, okay, but no one on the village board wants to see things taken down on Main Street
Right.
and box stores put up. And we were told that's where we were going, okay? That's the last thing. We don't need a Best Buy here. We don't need
No, I
a
don't
Target.
think, yeah, that's
Walmart's
not-
fine where it
No, that's
is.
not gonna happen.
Of
But-
course not.
I
And-
kind of like Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply is, you know, and
Well, then you're gonna
really,
buy-
Just
you know,
kidding.
it was several years ago when something was presented, and I made a statement, if they don't want to comply with what we have, send them down to the next town.
Right. If they're already there, they're there. But to change to accommodate what's there illegally, so the next person can come in and do it, is not the way I would like to go.
No, not at all.
You know, that's just
I
my
I
thought.
think what led us to even begin this process was placemaking,
Yeah.
okay?
Yep.
Walkability. All right, our on Main Street, it's beautiful, okay? However, if somebody sells, and there's a couple of homes here for sale, you have to find someone that wants to live in that house and not take it down. And that's what you're saying, to build something.
We also need to bring in businesses so that we can have walkability. Right now, walkability from a Chinese restaurant to F&J's to, you
But
know, our
businesses won't
walkability
do that,
is a
Maureen.
computer, you know what I'm saying? Like, the only shops that we have there where there's walkability to go in and look at anything is What a Girl Wants and really nailed it. Otherwise, you're just stopping for coffee, you're stopping for here. Like, I would like to see little shops, little, you know, when you go to, you know,
Candle store and
yeah,
whatever
you
candle
know,
store.
there's all little shops and little antique shops and little, you know, whatever to draw those people
Almost like
walking
boutiques,
through.
something
Right,
different for
but,
every-
so when we keep putting businesses in and we don't support it with walkability first,
Yes.
the business can't survive.
Well, I'm gonna answer that with one thing. A lot of businesses have come and gone, and I don't necessarily know it's the village's fault.
Well, I'm not-
I think that you look at the businesses that have been sustained here for 50 years, and it's consistency, staying open, their hours. A lot of the new businesses that came in had hours that fluctuated, a sign on the door, be back soon, you know, when. The biggest problem that I see is Brotherhood Plaza. Their rents are so ridiculously high, it's not maintained, it's in deplorable condition, and nothing can be done about it, apparently. And it's empty, and it's unsightly.
So it's same thing I've been hearing for 5 years, right? Same exact thing, and probably for 10 years prior to that. And the reason why I keep hearing this is because we're not looking at this correctly, okay? I 1,000% believe this, okay? I think I've proven it, it nailed it. A year ago, I would not be here. I would not be sitting in this seat if it was left up to what was here. The reason why I'm here is because it was dirt cheap, okay? Which is why we get in businesses that don't understand that you need consistency. I can rattle them off, and I wouldn't want to because I think they've all been amazing people that have amazing talents.
Absolutely.
That want to do amazing things. There needs to be a team in place that allows everybody to do this. I was very blessed to have an amazing business career. And I'm not here because I have amazing talents, okay? I'm still standing there because I have a business sense, okay?
You're a
I'm
hard
not
worker.
pumping- I
You're
know.
a hard
And this
worker.
is,
Yeah.
please, again, I hear the same pyramid. How many people you've called pyramid?
Yeah.
You've called
Yeah.
pyramid, you've called pyramid, you've called me, right? Okay, let's do something different, okay? Let's let pyramid want to be part of this town, okay? We have to take it the other way. I'm telling you, businesses will not stand if you can't get to them. I would not be there if that parking lot wasn't put in place, and I don't believe that parking lots need to be all through the village. That's
Oh,
why I
no.
put up the trees.
No, not at all.
But nobody was telling me this. You understand? Like, there's no, and this is not I'm not blaming the village. What I'm saying is that what I'm blaming is that the people that have been around for who, and I'm not naming names or even pointing into who's been around, but whatever's been happening, nobody's been seeking the education of where we're going, okay? We're fighting the same fight over and over. The world has changed. 2020 changed the world, and the world was changing before that. Bedroom community may not be anymore, but a bedroom community 10, 15 years ago barely existed. I know because I was looking for one, and I wouldn't come to Orange County back then. Today, more and more people are coming to Orange County. People are coming here. We have to make this amenable to the people that are coming, because they gotta stay. They buy a school district, And the second their kids are done, they're gone. This needs to be an entire community. It needs to be treated like a business. Coming from a business person, I get it, and I know if you go to a heart surgeon, he's gonna find a heart problem. But we need to, this has to be, we have that food pantry, what they're doing, we have amazing people in this community. Nobody is tightening up this weave, right? I sat in a room last night and I saw somebody throw down, he knows every rent in Washingtonville. Does anybody know what businesses we have here? Truly.
Yeah.
Every single one, because I'm mapping them out right now. I'm shocked. I mean, truly. I'm not, and
I
I'm not.
can't
I don't want
rattle
this.
them
I don't
off,
want this
but
to sound. I get intense. It's just me. Everybody,
that's
from
fine.
a few years
That's
ago, I
No,
get
we have
intense.
to hear it that way.
But listen, I'm
We
all
need to
in
get fired
here.
up.
Right.
I bought a piece of this town, and I'm as you say a stakeholder. Yeah, I want it to perform.
Yep.
Okay, I am not okay with just surviving. There are a lot of people in this town that seem to be okay with just surviving. Not me. You buy a house here, I want to sell it for more. It's a business. And in everybody's household, there is somebody that brings in money so that the whole family can survive. That's what we need to do. We need to start we need to invest in our investment so that when we sell high.
And people want to come here.
And we don't
They wanna
want
stay
to
here.
sell, we
A
want to bring
lifelong
people
community.
here.
I
We want
think-
to raise our value.
I think along those lines, you know, we met with someone just a little while ago who children graduated high school, they went to college, they saw what was happening in the village, and both of his children came back to the village. We're moving in the right direction.
We
my
have,
children,
the people here want it.
listen,
Yeah.
we took the buyout on Cardinal Drive.
And you stayed.
And we bought in, we
Good.
were determined to stay in the village. My children bought in the village.
Right.
My other daughter and her boyfriend live in the village and are staying in the village. My other daughter went to Campbell Hall, but she's in the area. But we all stayed in the village
We need
because,
everybody to feel that way.
but I'm not disagreeing. Every single thing you said is absolutely correct. But we need to bring in businesses where it allows for walkability. Right now, that was my
Listen,
point.
I would walk from where I live in North Street, but I'm teetering right now. If this happens next door to me, I may be the next one to go. Because we're allowing these things to sneak in on us. They're 5 years, 10 years ahead of us. I feel like the walls are closing
Sooner
in
than
a
that.
way, you know?
You know, we have.
So just remember,
a
if
couple of-
everybody's got one foot out the door,
Yeah,
where does it
exactly.
leave us?
Absolutely, I agree.
A couple
We
of,
can't be 1 foot out the door.
We
It
had,
can't happen. I'm
you
not
know,
leaving.
in my, I don't know, my training is in architecture, planning, okay? This village had, and there's a list of businesses that you want in a small village, okay?